Life can be so amazing. There are so many incredible things to feel good about. So why is it when it comes to personal happiness, so many people seem to be on a crash course? I've worked in high schools for over 15 years, and I talk to a lot of teenagers who are having a hard time coping with their stress. Many teens and adults are stuck living in anxiety and sadness and anger. Here's my message that teens have asked me to share. Every single one of us is on an incredible journey through life, and along the way there are challenges that we face. Some people call them problems, but if you think of each problem as a challenge, then you can recognize your opportunity to rise up, to find your inner strength. Let's take a closer look at this journey and find out why, for some people, life seems so hard, so heavy. One of the greatest benefits of becoming a teenager and growing up is freedom. You're now on your own, making decisions for yourself and being independent. But freedom comes with a catch. Along with freedom comes responsibilities. Responsibilities to friends and family, to events, schoolwork, jobs, teams, clubs, to your safety. Growing up means you have to carry your own responsibilities, and the more we have, the heavier the load. Think of it this way. Responsibilities are like rocks in a backpack. For example, when you get your driver's license and mom or dad give you the keys to their car, you now have wonderful freedom, but you also have a responsibility to drive safely and care for the family car. We all carry backpacks full of rocks around with us, and for the most part, we can manage them quite well with the load that we have. But sometimes added rocks are piled on. A fight with a friend or family member, a test or project, exams. Then the combined load may become too heavy to carry. This is what we call stress. Stress is the overload. Most adults are very capable of handling all of their responsibilities easily, and they can deal with added stressors. But for some people, it gets a lot harder. As teenagers and adults, every one of us carries around these backpacks of responsibility, and we all develop coping strategies to help us handle our load. The more overloaded or stressed we feel, the more often we'll turn to these coping strategies. The strategies we choose are either healthy and positive, I call these towards strategies, or they're unhealthy and negative, and I call these away strategies. Towards strategies move you towards your better future. Away strategies move you away from your better future. So before you look at your coping strategies, the big question you need to ask yourself is, do you want life to get better? The towards coping strategies help us to feel mentally and physically, emotionally, and or spiritually stronger. They help us to carry our load, and sometimes even lighten our load. When you use towards coping strategies, life gets easier. Away coping strategies do something very different. They add rocks. At the time when you turn to them, they feel right, but in the long run, they make your load heavier and more difficult to carry. Then life gets harder and more frustrating, more stressful. As a teenager, you're experiencing real stress, real overload in your life, hopefully for the first time. As a child, your family protected you from most of the big challenges that life had to offer. They carried your backpack for you, only giving you small, age-appropriate responsibilities to deal with. But then in the teenage years, it's time for you to carry your own backpack. For the first time, you're in the full throes of balancing school and jobs, teams, clubs, friends, and family. You have many challenges, and you may feel overloaded, under stress. Well, I'd love to tell you that it's just a phase you're going through and it will stop, but unfortunately, there will always be challenges in life. And as an adult, along with the freedom increasing, so do the pressures and responsibilities towards others. This does not mean that life sucks. On the contrary, when you learn to handle these events, you gain resilience and life gets easier. Some sample towards strategies are things like asking for help, getting regular exercise, having a good night's sleep, laughing, eating healthy food. Some sample away strategies are using drugs and alcohol to cope, spending more time on your screens, skipping school, blaming others, harming yourself. These are just some sample strategies, but there are so many more. So how do away coping strategies backfire on you? There's a wonderful saying that I fall back on when times are tough. This too will pass. This is an amazing way to view life. Enjoy each and every moment because they'll soon pass. And don't lament about the tough times because they will pass too. The stressor or trigger you're experiencing is going to pass, but the repercussions from your away coping strategies, they're going to last for a lot longer. For example, If eating junk food is your coping strategy, then know that the trigger will eventually pass, but those extra pounds and health issues you've gained while coping will just add more stress to your life for a longer time than the actual trigger. If you unload your frustrations on social media as a way to vent, then long after the trigger has passed, you're stuck dealing with the repercussions of the angry words that you've sent. If you unleash your frustrations on other people by yelling and screaming, getting into fights, then you're adding the stress and complications of these strained relationships in your life. If watching more screens is how you wind down, then you miss out on fresh air and exercise, and it's hard to face the responsibilities you avoided while you were zoning out for hours. If you turn to drugs and alcohol often, then eventually you're forced to deal with the responsibilities that you missed while you were drunk or high, not to mention the arguments with your loved ones about your coping strategy, and so the rocks pile up. Can you see the snowball effect? You begin with challenges, and as you cope, you create more problems, more stress for yourself. In the long run, each away coping method puts more rocks into your backpack. They make life more challenging, more difficult. Then life gets heavier and heavier, and you turn to those same coping strategies more often. Look at the big picture. I don't expect you to use healthy coping strategies 100% of the time, but hopefully you can use healthy coping strategies more often than the unhealthy ones. I'm sure you can think of adults in your life who have poor coping strategies. Maybe you've witnessed firsthand the snowball that rolls and gets out of control. Do you want to follow that same path? Right now, as you begin to experiment with coping strategies for challenges and stress, it's critical that you choose some towards coping strategies, because what you learn to use now are the very same strategies that you will continue to fall back on for the rest of your life. They'll become habits. I know that the online venting and the alcohol you drink, the joints you smoke now as a teen, might not seem so bad as coping strategies. They relax you, get your mind off things. They seem to relieve your stress. But those same strategies have a very different face when you're a professional, an employee, a spouse, and most importantly, a parent. In the long run, away coping strategies make your life harder and create more stress for you. So right now, as you're making your first attempts at figuring out various coping strategies, choose wisely. Choose more towards strategies, and you will come out better and stronger and more resilient. You'll be moving yourself towards your better future. Life is amazing. When you realize your inner strength, how much you can handle and that you can handle it well, life opens up for you. Go on. Uncover the amazing that's inside of you. For more towards and away strategies, or to find out information on how to be your own hero, check out byoh.ca. Thanks for watching.